Good morning, everyone. Hey,
Good morning.
thanks for joining. I got to go over here and check the YouTube to make sure it doesn't play and I get delayed. Everybody, I want to introduce to you Tony. Hello, Tony. How are you today?
Morning, guys. How's everyone doing?
Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to check.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Here he comes. Good. And I hit pause. We're good to go.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Wow, Tony, what is shaking? How are things with you today?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain from, with everything going on in the world. Just hanging in there.
All this vinyl,
So,
all this coffee, all this vinyl.
I hope everyone's doing well, taking care of each other, taking care of yourself, all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing is, like, even though we're going through this crisis, hey, good morning, Kurt.
Good morning,
Cheers.
Kurt.
Hey, good morning, Richard. Richard,
Morning.
Tony's with me. See Tony? Say hey to him.
Good
Cheers,
morning,
Richard.
I got my Krate cup. I'm excited that sports are coming back. So hockey's coming back, baseball's coming back. I'm excited about it, all that. So.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That is totally cool. Yeah. Over on the Facebook side, we got Bob. Good morning, Bob. Cheers.
Good morning, Bob.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom.
All right, so you want me to start this out?
Oh, yeah. You want to show us some vinyl?
All right. So pretty much, like I said, it seems like – good morning, Richard. I may be a little bit different than your past guests, which is cool because I've learned some stuff from, your guests, and maybe someone will learn some from me today.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to start with one of my favorites. You're going to see a couple records from this guy. First is Whiskey Town. It's a double LP. This is how I got into Whiskey Town and Ryan Adams. Hearing 16 Days from actually a band from Pittsburgh called the Clarks doing a cover of 16 Days, and I kind of just fell in love, when they told me who it was, because we were friends with it. My brother did some work for the Clarks, and I just fell in love with the whole album.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I didn't know who Ryan Adams was at the time. I just knew Whiskey Town, and I was young. I don't know, maybe 16, 17. So I fell in love with that. And then it went straight into Pneumonia, also from Whiskey Town.
Oh, yeah.
And this is produced by Ethan Johns. Cool cover. It's on clear vinyl. Skillet, which you may know from Raleigh.
Yeah.
Caitlin Carey, which are amazing people. Got to talk to them a couple times, going through art space and seeing them around town. Great people. Very nice, talented. And they also have their art. Caitlin does a lot of needlepoint, which is amazing. I don't know if you saw that. And,
absolutely. Yeah.
Skillet has some awesome digital prints that he does too, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the comments a little bit. Richard says, I love baseball.
Yeah, I'm excited for baseball to start.
Yeah.
Kind of sad that it's only 16 or 60 games, but I think we'll all take what we can get at this point.
Absolutely. Good morning, Carson.
How are you? Carson. So I'll go backwards a little bit since
This one's for you. This one's for you, Tony.
Hold on a minute. I'm actually from Philadelphia, Richard. Went to school in Pittsburgh at IUP. And that's how, well, I knew the Clarks before I went because, like I said, my brother worked for them. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Whiskey Town. Tell us a little bit about Whiskey Town.
Whiskey Town.
Yeah.
That's one thing or one band that I would love to see get back together. I know it's kind of, iffy and who knows if that were to happen, but I think that'd be great. I think that'd be great for Raleigh. I think that'd be great for, the artists coming together again, which would be awesome. And I think we talked about this before when I was in the shop, that, those shows, however many that were to go on, would sell out in minutes, I would think.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be cool for, those guys to reunite and get back together.
I think so too. I think a lot of people would fly in just for the opportunity to see Whiskey.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. I think you're right. But just to see them together in Raleigh, I think would just be amazing, because I never got the opportunity to see, Whiskey Town perform. So yeah, I think, hey, anything could happen, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Whiskey Town was a group that started in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm located, and Tony's in Raleigh now. So
yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Kirk.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Johnny. Cheers. Thanks for stopping by.
Good morning, Johnny. Good to see you, buddy. Johnny's I say my twin brother. I met him a couple of months back before the pandemic, just with our love for Ryan Adams and all that stuff. So it's good to see him joining, supporting me, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. The Clarks, I know you had to be familiar with this. Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you one thing I do, other than going to the shows out there in Pittsburgh, I do miss Permane Brothers. That place is cool for sandwiches, and when you're sitting there, you're kind of shocked, because the dude will you pick a sandwich or whatever, and it comes with fries. But the way they do it is they just grab a bunch of fries and just smash it onto your sandwich, which I was like, whoa, never had that, but it blew my mind. And this was also a long time ago, but very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So I'll go backwards. I guess I'm going to be on a Ryan Adams kick for a few records. I'll go to the start. And this is on Fish Feet Records. And this was his first 7-inch called Blank Label. And he actually plays drums on this. There's the back. And it's on red vinyl. Oop, gotta get used to this, which is cool. This actually came with a photo from one of their shows, I believe in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
So the name of the band, the name of the group is
Blank Label.
Blank Label, and this was this pre-Whiskey Town?
Oh yeah, this was gosh, should have had my stuff ready. 90, 91.
So it was from when he was living in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I
feel North Carolina.
How old he was. If I know there may be some Ryan Adams fans in here. If you know how old he was, feel free to chime in. Yeah, but this was 91. This was done in Hubert, North Carolina.
I've been to Hubert.
Yep. So it has the lyrics on the sleeve and who's in the band. I actually talked to the vocals, the vocalist. His name is Shane Doe. Really cool. Talked a lot about it. There's actually, this thing is, when I started building my Ryan Adams collection, this was like the white whale. I could never find this, and it went for like silly money. And so I found the brother of the guitar player, Jer. He was raising money to give to his brother to help with, financial stuff and whatnot, and stay afloat. So I got it for a decent deal. And there's also another variant, which has, this is just little cardboard, but there's another variant out there that's like crazy expensive, that it has a red cover, still on red vinyl. But chances of me ever getting a hold of one of those is probably slim to none. But I do know some people that have them.
So wouldn't that put Ryan at 15 or 16 there?
Again, maybe he was young. He was
Yeah,
real young. So I think you're right on the ballpark.
very cool.
But
Here's a
yeah,
couple
very cool. He
comments.
plays drums on that, and then it's a punk rock record.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Kurt was saying French fries on your sandwich, and then Richard was saying, "Oh my God." You definitely know Pittsburgh. There you go.
Yeah. And this one's a favorite of mine. This was another band he was in soon after, and he was in a couple bands in between. But this is the Patty Duke Syndrome 7-inch, and this comes on yellow vinyl. And there's also another variant on black, which I have both. And this is just, I mean, back in the day, this was just like an opening fold, and it comes with the inserts and the sticker, which is cool because it also comes with a comb.
That's right.
And when you're looking at this stuff online, I mean, if you don't have the comb, it seems like the record goes down, I guess, but people still want this.
Yeah.
So it's a split. Glamour Puss is on here with 2 songs, and the Patty Duke Syndrome with 2 songs, and Texas is such a great song off this. And Ryan actually does sing, or have lead vocals on this one.
And I saw Patty Duke a few times.
You did?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, awesome. Where at?
It was at the Fallout Shelter here in Raleigh. Yeah.
Oh wow, what'd you think?
I was like, who is that guy stumbling back there on the drums?
Well, Ryan was singing at this time.
I think when I saw him one time.
Oh, do you play drums on that?
Yeah, he was a drummer.
Oh wow, very cool.
Doing them both. I have no idea.
And so you've been in Raleigh long enough. Have you heard of Blasto Platter Records?
I have, yeah. I'm sure I have some of their stuff.
So that's
what year is that Patty Duke? What year is it, Patty Duke?
Year of Patty Duke. Do you collect the last things? When it comes to Ryan Adams, I have all of the 7-inch singles.
Wow.
Patty Duke. Gosh, now you're putting me on the spot.
92, 94, I'm guessing.
94. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And it was produced by Jerry Key. You know who that is?
Pretty well. Yeah, he's a wonderful guy.
And it's interesting because when I was looking for this stuff, again, it's so hard to find, 6 years ago or 5, 6 years ago. And I was like, you know what? He's still local, Jerry.
He is, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'll reach out to him and see if he has an extra one. And sure enough, he's like, man, I'll give you this. I think it was like $70, which was awesome at the time because it, like I said, the prices are crazy. I was all for it. He's like, yeah, let's meet up at the BJ's and, we'll settle there. And I'm like, you don't have to tell me twice. I'll be there whenever you want. So it was pretty cool. So I got to meet him and talk to him for a little bit. And he's like, man, I have so many stories, so many pictures. I was like, hey, if you got some time one day, let's sit around, have some coffee, and talk about it.
And Jerry's one of the nicest guys out there. And I've done a lot with Jerry. And he had a fire. And so.
Oh, really? Recently?
A year or so ago. And if
wow.
you could get that record from him, it probably would have been burned.
Oh, wow.
It's that bad. It's really sad. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. DRA would have been 17, 18, and Blank Space Days.
Oh, Blank Label Days, yeah. And so here's Whiskey Town Angels EP. And this is also on a little cardboard. This is my favorite single, I believe, from Ryan Adams or Whiskey Town. And I actually got this signed. It has Ryan's signature and Skillet on the back.
Oh, wow.
So when I got this, it had those 2 signatures on the back. And a couple weeks earlier, I met Caitlin at Art Space. And I didn't want to go in, freaking out and, being that fan or whatever. But before we left, because we had a St. Bernard at the time, and we walked in, and Caitlin fell in love with him, and we had a good time talking. And and all that stuff. And, she showed us her artwork. But before we left, I was like, I have this crazy request, and you don't have to say yes, but would you, I told her about it, and I said, Skillet's on there, Ryan's on there, would you mind signing it? And she's like, no, next time you come by, swing by, and I'll sign it. So she was, sweet enough to sign it for me, and it just meant the world to me. So really, I love this thing. So good. The songs on there are really good. Angels Are Messengers from God is a great song, and Caitlin's amazing on this record. You probably heard of Mood Food Records.
Of course, yeah.
It's cool to see the address, like Kildare Farms Road.
Yeah.
In Cary.
Right over there, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And like I said, I really appreciate her doing that, and it's a cool piece to have.
Caitlin is one of the nicest people you're going to ever meet. She is really a great person for the art community. And I've asked her to sign things before, and she's always been, yes, I'll be glad to.
Yeah, awesome.
I don't have any. The only Whiskey Town thing I have is a oh darn, what's it called? We want to listen to it and make sure it's going to sound okay.
Is a CD?
It's on cassette. It was a take this make sure it's going to sound out okay. I forget what it's called right now. I'll come up with it later. But she signed that one for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. There you go. It's a promo. It's an advanced copy, but you will listen to it and make sure the mixers were okay, make sure it sounded okay for you before we actually, went to duplication.
So was it like, how we test press? Was it a test press cassette or?
Yes, it was. It was the same. It wasn't vinyl, but it was the same idea. We're going to listen to it, make sure it's going to sound okay, and once everybody signs off, we'll go ahead and duplicate it then.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll keep going.
Sure.
A couple more things Ryan Adams related. Heartbreaker will always be my favorite record of his. I mean, to me, I think it's a masterpiece to me. And I own 7 different copies of this. Some people probably laugh like you're crazy. But I own 7 different copies of this. And this is also produced by Ethan Johns. I think it's just an amazing record. This is interesting because when this was repressed in 2008, Bloodshot and Cobraside did the repress. There were some misprints. And what's cool about this was they came back and offered those who had a misprint some pretty cool, let me get this out, some pretty cool vinyl. And this one's on green.
Yeah.
Which, it was random. You didn't know you were getting it. It just showed up as your replacement. So this, I think, is awesome.
It is.
And I mean, if you're in the Ryan Adams community, it's kind of rare and kind of pricey, but very cool to own. They did a green and black because it's a 2 LP. They did green and black, and then they did a teal one, which is kind of cool. Probably my favorite. So it's like a teal marble.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one other one that I've only seen one where they have a teal and a purple as the, A, B, or in this case, 1, 2, and side 3, 4. And I've only seen one, and the chances of me getting that one to add to my collection are slim to none. But yeah, I think, everyone's heard Come Pick Me Up. Amazing song, I think. But there's so many good titles on here. Love the picture of Ryan in the grocery store buying Radcon. So, I mean, and the pictures that came out of this were awesome too, I think. Just some of the photos. So, yeah.
Very cool. Which one's your favorite pressing of that record?
There's the Pac-Sam one, his label, I think, is a good pressing.
Oh.
That came out, I think, 2016-ish. And I think the box set, there's a box set with outtakes, which sounds pretty good too. So yeah, that's Heartbreaker. And I think you may have had this in your store. If you haven't heard this, I've always talked about this as being a great, I mean, some people will argue that it's not great, that he kind of ruined it, but his Taylor Swift cover.
Yeah.
And to me, it sounds like something straight out of a John Hughes film. And I'll always say that. I mean, I think what he did with the songs are really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there.
He turned it into his own. And this is on this was actually a Barnes and Noble variant on Seafoam green. So I know. And I mean, I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, I like what he did with the songs. I like it better.
A lot of his recent stuff has that 80s vibe, which I like and fell in love with. And I mean, it's seriously, some of the songs will seriously put you in like a John Hughes movie, to me, I think.
Right.
I'm a big fan of John Hughes.
I am too. He's my favorite. He's one of my favorites. Absolutely, yeah.
So when people say, hey, what's your favorite album? I always go, Heartbreaker, and I have Love Is Hell, 10-inch, which has Wonderwall on it. And I think his version of Wonderwall is awesome. I think there was, a quote of Noel saying, you made that song yours pretty much. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
This House Is Not For Sale is probably one of my favorite songs on this record. But yeah. I hope you guys aren't getting tired of the Ryan Adams story just yet.
Not at all.
More that I'll share that I think is cool.
I always enjoy seeing what people enjoy and what they like to share with us.
Let's see. This is I thought this was always, this was always a cool cover to me. This is his rock and roll album. And I think this is UK pressing. The US pressing has his face on it. It's like pixelated type deal. But this is pretty cool. And it's on black vinyl.
Very cool.
It was funny. We were on vacation at the Outer Banks, me and my fiance, and I was on the beach and I saw this. I mean, again, a lot of his records, go for silly money. A few years back, and we were on the beach, and I saw an Instagram post from Grimey's out in Tennessee, and they put it up. I think it was like $70. I mean, it's not the greatest condition, like the sleeve wise, but I told my fiance, I was like, hey, I gotta go back to the hotel room, gotta grab my wallet, make a phone call. And I had him on the phone. I was like, hey man, I want that record. Please don't sell it. Give me a few minutes to get up to my room and grab my, wallet, and I'll pay over the phone. So that's my little story with that. But
very cool.
Very cool. I think I don't know. He doesn't really talk about that record a lot. I don't think he really cared for it, but I think there's a lot of good songs on that.
All right. Very cool.
Let's see. Now I'll go into something new. Some of you guys may have not heard of before, and a lot of people always ask, who should I check out, and that kind of stuff. And I always put out the name Butch Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of Butch Walker?
Oh, yeah. So Michael's going to be with me on Friday, and he loves Butch Walker. He's always telling me this. Check out this video. Check out this song. So, yeah.
Is he on here?
Michael, are you here today? Call him Michael.
We might become best friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's going to be with me Friday, so if you want to
Okay. I'll definitely tune in.
A little early, though.
Butch started out back in the day having that hair band called South Gang. And I didn't know of them then. And like I told you before, I grew up with an older brother, and that was always his thing, like Bon Jovi, Poison, Warren, Guns N' Roses. And here I am, a little kid wanting to put on makeup and, hairspray my hair as high as I could get it and all that stuff. But I guess where was I getting at? But yeah, so we never really found out about South Gang until later. And he had some other bands, the Floyds, and then a lot of people called it a one-hit wonder when he had the 90s band, or late 90s, Marvelous 3, which has some roots to Raleigh because the first record was on Deep South Records.
Right. Yeah, yes.
So I always thought that was cool. And saw him in the park here in Raleigh when they did Budweiser, and I think it was called Bud Light in the Park or something like that. Or
yeah.
Does that ring a bell? And I think Deep South put it together.
It was at Moore Square, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I grew up listening to Marvelous 3, and here I am, 16 years old, driving over the mountain, because I used to live in a town called Harrisonburg, Virginia, and I would go over to Charlottesville because it had all the cool clubs like Trax, and they had all ages shows, or I think 16 and up, whatever it was. But I grew up listening to Butch, and here's a record called Sycamore Meadows. And a cool thing about and I have everything from Butch. The cool thing about it is he offered to, he was cool enough to sign all my records. So, and that was amazing. Like, I'm so blown away that I have all of his stuff signed. So this is a great album. It's on red vinyl. It's on Power Ballad Records. I guess his own at one point. He had a falling out with, I think, Arista. And so he had to disband with Marvelous 3 and then just went solo. But he had a couple records before this one, which were amazing, and I wish would get pressed on the vinyl. But I don't see that happening. He also had a fire. I think all the originals were stuck in that fire. So this is a pretty good record. Hard to come by, expensive if it does pop up on eBay or Discogs. But a great record if you want to start. Check out Butch.
Yeah, and Butch. There's been some record store day titles, so hey, there's hope for that. And then there was a movie, a documentary, as of late.
Yeah, Out of Focus, which was really cool to see.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
You gotta run, gotta jump. Great shares, Tony. You're gonna have to dig up some Ryan Adams. And Harrisonburg is the ball. Hey, thanks for
Harrisonburg was it was cool. If you're there, I mean, it's a college town. So if you're not there for college, it's kind of not much to do there. So a lot of people will say, oh, I never heard of Butch Walker. And I'm like, yeah, you have. You just don't know it because he's a producer. He's done Weezer, Pink, Green Day. I think he's doing Jewel now. Jewel's doing a new record. Rob Thomas. So many others. I think he's doing a Wallflowers record.
Oh, wow. Busy guy. Yeah,
I knew this question would come up, Carson. And I talked to Adam about this earlier.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. What do you think of prog stuff like Yes, the Pink Floyd, Genesis, King Crimson, and Rush?
So going back to having an older brother, again, I grew up with Prince and hair bands like Bon Jovi. And after he went to college, I kind of went on my own and explored stuff, and I got into bands like let's see, Live, Bush, Pearl Jam, Smashing Pumpkins, Collective Soul, no, those kind of stuff. So I never went backwards. I always kind of went forward, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And like the other day, I forget his name now. I think it was Alan had all that Beatles stuff.
Alan C. Records.
Yeah, I asked a question. I've obviously I've heard a lot of Beatles stuff, and I don't own anything, but wanted to know where I would start out. And just like you, I don't know if you remember, this was probably last year, the year before. You told me something. We were talking about Elton John, I think, and you told me that if I were to start it was a live record. I think there was only like 5 songs on there. It was a black cover. There was a Record Store Day re-release.
11/17/70.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm always looking to go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where to start, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say no to any of that.
Yeah, there you go.
So
hey, which is totally cool. Yeah. Yeah. Alan, what did Alan suggest? Revolver? I can't recall, but I suggested 11/17/70. Totally different than Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
I forget what he said. He didn't say Revolver.
I remember we talked about
maybe he did. He did.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, and again, like I'll have to go back and that's kind of like why I like this kind of stuff. So I'm I guess you could say I'm still learning. Because like all my stuff is kind of like the time where I started to now. And there's a lot of like kind of emo-ish bands that I've gotten into and pop punk, stuff like that. But that was the time that I was going through, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Continue with go ahead.
Our influences and stuff like that. Hey, Carson, please feel free to share what you think would be the first Yes record, the first Pink Floyd record, the first Genesis, the first King Crimson, and the first Rush record you would recommend anybody start with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'll definitely go back if you want to do that and check that stuff out. To continue with Butch, this is probably one of my favorites, called Afraid of Ghosts. And the photographer that did this, Noah Abrams, is an amazing photographer. Good friends with Butch and Ryan. And this is actually produced by Ryan Adams.
Oh.
And has a lot of good songs on there. It's kind of, he was going through a lot of, I guess, emotions as an artist. His dad passing away, and there's some tunes on here about that. Johnny Depp is on here. I think on 21 and Over. He's on there with an awesome guitar solo. I think he actually plays the whole, in the song, but so cool to see that. And there's actually a little documentary that a film footage that Noah Abrams put up. You can Google that. I think it's just called Butch Walker Afraid of Ghosts, and it's maybe like 7-8 minutes long, which is pretty cool, like behind the scene type stuff. And this comes on. It's weird when it comes to like Ryan and Butch. I have like every variant. So this one is on black. He has a gold record of this. So I'm kind of weird. I have to have one of each, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
This is also a good record. If you want to check out Butch, this would be another good one to start.
Okay.
Start out with.
It's so cool.
And
The signature's in the same place as the other.
Oh yeah. It was crazy when I sent this. When I sent these out, obviously I had to get insurance on it and pay for the return shipping and whatnot. And I was so worried. I'm like, man, these are going to disappear, or something's going to happen to them. And I was freaking out like the whole 2-week turnaround. But it turned out pretty cool, and it's awesome to have. And I was lucky enough to get a test pressing of Afraid of Ghosts.
Wow.
It's on the Lojinks label. So this is Afraid of Ghosts, also signed. And I love this record. It makes me think about my dad and, love and loss and all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool to have that in my collection. And the last one on Butch was his recent, and this one is a rock opera. I don't know if you heard about this one. This is called American Love Story. This came out on May 8th, which is interesting because you have to listen to this, all in one sitting. Again, it's a rock opera, so it talks about, homophobia and racism, and it probably came out at a much needed time with everything going on in the world. So I definitely recommend this, and especially to you, Adam, if you want to check this out. It's such a cool record, cool story, and it talks. The song's it's just like one long song pretty much, and it talks about, it has characters, and it kind of reflects his life living in the South back in the day, and there was so much going on, and he talks about seeing, KKK leaders out in the middle of the street like the firemen do, collect money in, buckets, and he was just, and when he thinks about it now, he's just kind of like blown away that stuff actually happened.
Yeah.
People were putting money in there and all, and it talks about a character who bullies a gay kid in his class. And then, it goes through, and that gay kid actually saves that character's life towards the middle. And then he just evolves and changes his whole mindset. And it's like, damn, I was really a jerk back in the day, and it's definitely a must. And I think now with the times that we're going through, perfect. It couldn't come out at a more perfect time. Great record. It's on white marble, which is very cool. But yeah, definitely check that out.
Last time Michael stopped by, he told me about that record, and I think
he did.
ordered it from the website because there was a special edition just from the website. And then I've seen you post it on Instagram 2, maybe 3 times. Yeah.
So an awesome record. Yeah, I'm actually excited to check out Michael's chat with you on Friday.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hey, let's take a look at this comment.
Yeah.
A couple from Carson. To start out with the stuff. For Pink Floyd, start with The Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here. For King Crimson, start at the core of the Crimson King. Rush, Permanent Waves. Thrash, Yes is Fragile. And then Genesis, Selling England by the Pound.
Very cool. Thanks for those, Carson. I appreciate it.
For those titles. Yeah.
And all those titles ring a bell. When I was in that shop the other day, when I was telling you about yesterday in Graham, all those titles ring a bell. So I'll have to go back and write those down and check them out.
Absolutely, yeah.
For sure. So let's see.
Coffee, Tony. Cheers. I know you were so nervous.
Oh, this is a cool record by 21 Pilots. I'm a big 21 Pilots fan, and this is my favorite called Vessel. There's 2 guys in this band, Josh and Tyler, and that's their grandfathers.
Mm-hmm.
And there they are on the back. This band is close to my heart, I guess you could say. I started listening to these guys back in 2012. They come a long way. I mean, they're everywhere, I guess you could say now. But awesome songs on this. This is on the Fueled by Ramen label. This is on clear vinyl. So many good tracks on this. Their whole discography is amazing to me. They're awesome live. I've seen them many times here in Raleigh. It was cool to see them at the Red Hat. There was a storm coming in, and they had to evacuate us to across the street to the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, this is gonna suck if they cancel the show. But it blew over fast, and they put an amazing show outside. Seen them many times. I took my nieces at a very young age to Philly to see them at the Tower Theater. But yeah, they had a blast. One fell asleep. It was cool. I mean, she was maybe 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Fell asleep and the whole the balcony was just shaking. I felt so bad. And the other one hung in there and enjoyed herself. But yeah, they're great. If anyone has a chance to see them or want to check them out, I think it's a great record to listen to.
Oh, absolutely.
Just real quick, this was cool. This was a Record Store Day release. One of my favorites too. Is Shape of Ohio. They're from Ohio, which makes sense. Very cool record. Stood out. My fiance might have to help me out with this one. I think this is the night it rained a lot, and we were outside in beach chairs waiting for this to come out. So I had a couple of those nights in April. Kind of miss it. It's been a while since we had a Record Store Day. Or
not only was it raining, but there was a tornado just a few miles away.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep. So yeah, they're a good band to check out. They have a song called "Level of Concern," which is kind of been buzzing, I guess, on the internet lately about the whole being quarantine thing. So very cool. Let's get into something else.
Sure.
Brian Fallon, one of my favorite albums from him. Brian Fallon is the lead singer of Gaslight Anthem, which is an amazing band. Had a lot of great albums, great songs on there. This one is actually produced by Butch Walker. So many good songs on this. A Wonderful Life is probably one of my favorites on this. He's got a couple more solo records out, but this one is my favorite. This is on black vinyl on Island Records. Haven't seen Brian live solo. Kind of missed out on his Saxophone gig a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
And he had one lined up here at the Lincoln, but the virus kind of killed those plans.
Yes, it did.
He's coming to town with Justin Town Earl, or I think I said that right, Justin Towns. Anyways, but yeah, awesome. And like I said, Gaslight Anthem is a great band as well. But yeah, good record.
Absolutely. Carson has a question for you. Have you listened to Metallica's highly panned album, Saint Anger?
No, I have not.
I haven't either, Carson. Carson, you got to get up here one day and talk to us about this stuff, sir. We need to hear about the Saint Anger. Yeah. Next week for you, Carson.
And another favorite of mine is Jesse Malin. And you may know Jesse from Degeneration.
Yep.
So this one is Glitter in the Gutter.
Oh, yeah.
Great record. He does a song called Broken Radio with the Boss, actually. And it's such a good song. There's a video for it. This is on white. It's got a poster in there. Such a good record. This was made in England. I don't know. The stickers are always kind of cool to me to see where it's made from.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Where it comes from. So this is also a great record. If you don't know Jesse, this is a good one to start with. And this is also a good one to, definitely. I think everyone should probably listen to this. The Fine Art of Self-Destruction, which is a great record. Ryan Adams actually produced this. So obviously they're friends. So yeah, lots of good songs on this one. Jesse's a New Yorker, loves the Ramones. I think he owns the Bowery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a couple, I think 2 clubs. I could be wrong, but a few clubs in New York.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
There's a funny story. He couldn't land a CBGB's gig because couldn't bring enough people in that would actually pay for drinks. So couldn't get his start. I think his start was with Heart Attack. It was a punk rock band called Heart Attack. But yeah, but those are 2 awesome Jesse records, and he's got a couple more records out. And again, with Degeneration, and I think the guitar player lives in Raleigh. Richard
Bacchus lives here. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Rich is a cool guy too, and he stops by the Krate. And I was just going to say, how would you describe the sound of your favorite Jesse record?
Indie rock.
Indie rock.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, 2 good records. What's your team? What do you have, Tony? I have a U-turn, or an Orbit U-turn.
And what color is yours?
That is green.
Green. There you go.
It's like a bright green.
They're so cool. They're so cool.
Yeah. And it's for me, it was cool. They're from Boston, American made kind of thing. So
yeah,
support at that time was a local business. Now they're booming.
Absolutely. I remember their Kickstarter.
Yeah, their Kickstarter. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah. That's a turntable to have, Tony. So congratulations on that. You used to have an Audio Technica, didn't you? Like a AT60. Was that you?
No. That
was somebody else. Never mind.
I came in. I'm kind of still mad at you about. I came in to the shop and you had I think a Pioneer had just came in, and you were still looking at it.
The big one.
Yeah.
The wooden one.
Yeah, and it was towards the back, and you had a blanket over it, and of course, I'm curious, so I'm pulling up the blanket, and we talked about it, and you said you're gonna take some time and make sure it worked and everything like that, and I never heard back from you. I was like, man, but I think
that's who I'm saving it for. I remember now.
What, you still have it?
I still have it, and I was like, well, I can't sell it because what if I blog it and someone sees it, and I was like, ah. And so I felt bad, and I kept it covered all this time because
really? Is it still working? Does it work?
Yeah. I tell you what I'll do. I'll get it out and I'll connect it, and then maybe sometime in the next week or 2, you can swing by and we can listen to some cool music together.
And I never brought it up, and I guess I never really went.
I totally forgot.
Did you move it?
I'm sorry.
Did you still have it in the same spot, or did you move it?
I moved it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's probably why I haven't seen it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to bring it up. It's okay.
I wish because I felt bad. I've kept it covered up all these years. Like, I really need to sell this, but I can't forget who I spoke to.
No, I keep talking about how I would love to own like a Pioneer turntable.
Yeah.
Having a legit setup. And I know that comes with extra money, but one day.
They are beautiful tables, but we can talk about that a little later.
So the next album is when I came to see you in March, when all this was about to go down. I told you about a band called Pine Grove.
You did, absolutely. I remember that very well.
Yeah, Johnny, he does have I think you have an online store, right?
Absolutely, and as well as eBay and Disco GS. And anyway, Johnny, I put a link in the chat if that helps.
So I have this record. It's called Cardinal by Pine Grove. One of my favorites. My fiance and I went to see them, and we've seen them many times at Motor Co. at the Lincoln. During this event, we went up to Greensboro, I believe, at the Blind Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, when this came out, he had 100 hand painted covers of this album.
Wow.
That he did, and I missed out because they just went so fast. And I've always been bummed about it. And I was like, you know what? I'll be that geek out fan. And I think it was this and 2 other record sleeves. I was like, you know what? I'll bring them and see if I can, maybe hang out afterwards and meet up with him and see if he'll sign it. So, and I told him the story. I missed out, and he kind of drew on this, and he drew on the others and signed it and dated it, which was cool. So, but yeah, to me, this record, and this is an indie rock band from New Jersey. And like I told you, it had like the Whiskey Town vibes to it that I really enjoyed. But to me, when this album came out in 2016, this was the record of the year to me. This is definitely a must to check out. Fun record. The lyrics are amazing. Music is amazing. They have a couple other things out. Their latest is called Marigold, which is a great record too. But yeah, this is definitely. If you haven't heard of Pine Grove, definitely check this out. There was a couple of variants. This came out on Run for Cover Records. There's a couple of variants, like the hand painted one. I believe there's a blue, gray, red record, and of course black. But definitely check this out, Pine Grove Cardinal.
Pine Grove it is, yeah.
Yep, it's definitely good.
Yeah, that is so cool.
And great live too. And we missed out. They were coming to Cat's Cradle.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was going to be my birthday show. My birthday was in June, and it was going to be an awesome time to get out and see these guys. And, of course, dreams get shattered by the virus.
Carson's saying a turntable revelation happening live.
Yep.
Absolutely, Carson.
So, to go along with the must checkouts, this record is The Glorious Sons. Young, Beautiful, and Fools. And these guys are from Canada. I think Toronto area, I believe. Amazing record, amazing guys. Saw them at the Lincoln. Amazing show. Very cool to talk to. They signed a bunch of records that day, and the insert is signed, which is kind of cool. But the lead singer has an amazing voice. All the songs, have that grit rock feel to it. Such a great record to check out. And they have a new one out recently, a couple months back, also worth checking out. But very good. They also have a live album, an acoustic-ish album. Very cool, guys. Definitely check those out.
Absolutely. Good morning, Amy. Good morning. Cheers. Thanks for joining us. Carson has a question for you. Favorite Nirvana record?
So, during the whole live Pearl Jam, I hate to say this on the internet, but I never really got into Nirvana at that age. There was the songs you heard on the radio and whatnot, and MTV Unplugged was awesome. But that was at a later date for me, which I still have. I have it downloaded and I'll listen to every once in a while. But I never had, I guess, a Nirvana experience. So if you have a record I should start out with, I'll definitely take that advice. But I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it. I guess maybe it's just I skipped over it, I guess you could say. I was in middle school, so yeah, I don't really know. I never really went back. And it's weird because with live, I started before they were even called Live. They were called Public Affection
Mm-hmm.
in York, Pennsylvania. And, I went from Mental Jewelry to Throwing Copper. Like, I followed them all through the way, even through the breakup and then the reunion, which is kind of weird, but it's cool to see it happen, I guess, because they had some differences and, money was an issue and you hate to see all that play out. But when they got, I stopped when they got a new lead singer and kind of did a whole album with him. I forget his I don't know. I don't want to mess it up, but
It's okay.
anyways, so, and with Pearl Jam, like I skipped around with, albums. But when it comes to Pearl Jam, 10 is my favorite. Black is, I know it might sound cliche, but amazing song that will, live forever, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you're enjoying music and you're enjoying it immensely, you're focusing on a certain genre. That some things outside that genre, okay, yeah, but some things over there, you're like, paying no attention to it. Yeah. So I could totally understand maybe Nirvana just not being on the radar at the time. And
again, they were in the background. Like,
it was hard to go to the grocery store without hearing Teen Spirit.
Yeah. And you still hear it today too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, if you want, please throw out an album to start with. I'll definitely take the recommendations.
Absolutely.
So this might sound weird, but I'm a Jared Leto fan.
Ooh, very cool.
And I started with 30 Seconds to Mars when they first came out, and they were, the alternative rock kind of band. And, we had the whole MTV following with My So-Called Life, which was an amazing show. And even being young, I loved it. Had Claire Danes in it. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite records called This Is War. Such a great album, I think. So many good songs on there. Their newer stuff is kind of, poppy. I'll listen to it, but it's the older stuff and this record which really gets me. But yeah, I don't know if I wanted to come out with that and saying I'm a Jared Leto fan, but I mean, I think he's talented. He has a great voice. He puts on an amazing show. His brother plays drums. It was just the three of them. I think Tomo left recently, the guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, awesome live. Puts on a great show.
Very cool. Very cool. Very iconic album cover too.
Yeah. I'll share one of my favorites, who I guess is considered a one-hit wonder, which I think is a great record too. The New Radicals.
The New Radicals. There you go.
Yeah. Greg Alexander. I almost feel like this was ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
But you still hear You Get What You Give on TV shows, out in public. And I think after this, he was threatened by Marilyn Manson for calling him out on that song. A great record, I think.
Absolutely.
You ever heard of this?
I have, yes, absolutely, yeah. But I've never seen it on vinyl, so it's like, whoa.
This, good morning.
Good morning, Swamp Picker. Thanks for joining us. Cheers.
It came out 2-3 years ago. And I think it had another release, like Back to Vinyl. Did something. I think it had like 3 releases the same year. But I think an awesome record, and the songs are really good on there.
So great to see some of your issues of vinyl. I just wish they were pressed longer and made available longer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Victoria. Oh, I'm sorry. I called you Amy earlier. Cheers. Thanks for joining us.
And so another band that kind of, got mixed in with, live and Pearl Jam and all that is Oasis.
Yeah, and you mentioned Oasis earlier.
This is one of my favorites. It's on black vinyl, has misprint labels on there, and I don't know what the story is behind the misprint labels, but I always thought that was cool. I think some people see that as, you know, a rarity, but you can't go wrong with this album, I don't think. I mean, it was a staple piece, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
This was on all the time. Their videos were, when MTV played videos, this was on all the time. So many good songs from it.
Yeah.
You kind of wish the brothers would maybe settle their differences. And I mean, again, another reunion that would sell out in minutes.
Oh, yeah.
If they could keep it together for, you know, to last the show. And not have like Liam walk off the stage or anything, or
absolutely, yeah.
Call his brother a potato head.
Not long after I was open, a guy walked in one day with that record. It was original pressing, American, and he wanted to sell it. Mm-hmm. And you know, when I first opened, folks, we didn't have very many reissues. There was not very much you could buy on vinyl unless it was just super popular, trendy.
Yeah.
And, I didn't buy it. I don't know what his story was, but he enjoyed coming here, and we listened to the whole thing, and it was awesome. But he wanted way much money for it than I was able to get. Yeah.
So I guess the last record I have is this original print of Elvis Presley.
Oh, let's see the top right corner. I'm gonna hold on a second. I'm gonna isolate you.
Top right corner.
Yeah.
Let me take it out of the sleep.
Okay.
So glare.
Ah, there you go.
Yep.
All right.
So this is, I mean, my fiance loves Elvis, and I grew up with having Elvis around with my brother. My mom loved Elvis too, and such a great record just to put on and just enjoy.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
We went to a vinyl show at Carborough, and we saw this and we're like, you know, this would be awesome to have in our collection. And kind of walked back around 6 times, looked at it, picked it up, touched it, talked to the older gentleman and his wife who were selling it, and they actually gave us a good, I mean, we don't have to talk money, but they actually gave us a good deal on it. They saw that, you know, we were interested and they wanted us to have it, and it was, I mean, it's something cool to own. Songs are awesome on it. And
oh, absolutely.
So yeah.
To hear the record that started it all for Elvis, you know, is just amazing. Or at least his first commercial LP. And we're going to see more and more of those folks, because the generation that owns those, they're the generation that bought them new. They're going to be moving into a retirement community. They're downsizing, so we're going to see more of those on the market. So yeah. Good. If you see one, folks, pick it up. Absolutely,
definitely. So yeah, that's a cool record to enjoy, and you know,
absolutely,
story and classical jazz. I haven't gotten into either of those either.
Oh boy, that's a tough one, Carson, because there's so many subgenres of classical and jazz. So yeah.
Jazz. I've heard a couple songs when it comes to jazz. Gosh, now I'm not gonna. Pat Metheny.
Yeah, very good stuff. Yeah. His Carson's Led Zepp 2 has a misprint label.
Carson, do you find like having stuff like that to be rare, or just a cool thing to have in your collection, I guess? Because I mean, you look at so much. I mean, there's so many things that, you know, come misprinted, and some people do consider them to be rare and, you know, worth more than an original, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just a great conversation piece.
Yeah, for sure.
Victoria, or do you play vinyl? I can't recall. And of course, Glenn, do you play vinyl? I can't recall. I think Glenn has sold vinyl, but I don't think he currently plays it, if I recall. Yeah. So yeah, let's see. Any other questions with Tony before we put records on the table and play some? Let's see.
Yeah, today will probably be a day to stay inside. It's been too hot, crazy. I mean, we take advantage of going out and getting some fresh air, but these past couple of days have been hot here in Raleigh.
Yeah, we are, and it's early. It's early for July to be this warm, so.
Yeah.
But I'll take it over 35 any day. Yeah, and I'm heading up to Wake Forest today. Are there any Ryan Adams records that's on your list to get? Any sevens or that he collaborated with?
I have almost everything of Ryan. I do have. I guess I could show it real quick. I can before. When all this was going on, I knew that getting that would be hard because when it first went online, let me grab it real quick.
Victoria, some people say, well, Victoria, it's time to get a turntable. Let's start listening to those wonderful records you got there and cool things like that. But I understand that if you need to resell them, you need to resell them.
So when this bad boy went on,
stars, look at that.
Called Live After Death. This was a Europe tour that Ryan did, and it has 15 LPs in this box set. And there you go. This was dirt cheap on his site. And I say dirt cheap, I mean, I think it was $150 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you know what, this is something I really want to add to my collection. And it just broke the internet at the time. And I had it in my cart. And I think I've met so many people that had the same, like, I guess you could say horror story. But I had it in my cart and it wouldn't let me check out.
Oh, yeah.
I was so mad, so upset about it. And I think that day he had to just stop. Whoever was putting it out, this distribution or whatever, they had to stop because it literally broke the website. And he put it on the second day, and the same thing happened. Like, I couldn't get through, and I was so mad. And so I just had to let it go. And they went for stupid prices online. I mean, the highest I ever seen was $1,500. And as low as $600 at the time. And you'll see some guys will add it on eBay or Discogs, and it'll be sealed. And I'm like, you had that thing sealed for all this time? Like, what's wrong with you? But obviously, it's maybe the resale, I guess you could say, or they just wanted to have it.
Yeah,
play it, I guess.
Oh, too.
Yeah, some people probably did buy it too.
Yeah,
but I found this at a great price, and I can't complain. I mean, it's a great box set to have. Like I said, it was probably my white whale at the time. So
that is really cool.
Yeah.
Carson says, I won't sell my records as far as I can see. That's cool, Carson. Enjoying the episode.
But when you asked, I have everything. Like, I have the 7-inch singles of Ryan's, and it's crazy because some of the later ones, the recent ones that he put out, have some are a main black vinyl, and then he had a tour edition which was colored, like blue. And he had some European ones that were like yellow, and they're different colors, different shade of red. So of course I had to have it. So I have I don't know, like over 100 singles I maybe in my collection. Too many to show. But like I said, Blank Label has a red cover. I'll probably never see one. So I will never be like the completist, I guess you could say, when it comes to Ryan Adams.
But if you find the red label, that'll be a big plus.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's some, and he also did when he put out Prisoner, he also did like a one-off kind of going into like the record booth and doing one copy or one song on each 7-inch and sent those out as a gift with the let me just grab that, I guess.
Sure.
He had a box set of 7-inch, and it's pretty much Prisoner 2. And it's kind of a cool setup. I found this one signed. He posted that he was going into now I can't think of it. What's the big record store in LA? Maybe help me out. Amoeba.
Yes.
On the Strip. And he's like, I'm going in, signing one of these, and took a picture. And I was like, you know what? I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just call and see if they'll sell it to me. And lucky enough, they sold it to me, shipped it to me. So it's cool to have. And I mean, the artwork is awesome on each one. Each 7 inches colored. So, yeah. But when it comes to like his records, I pretty much have everything. There's a couple things I don't, and like I said, I'll never see or never, be able to get, I guess you could say. So, and it is what it is. I'm not gonna be bent out of shape or anything.
I'm not gonna keep you anymore, but I do have one question before we take. Adventures in Resale Victoria says I should get a turntable. I agree. I had one when I was a teenager. I used to listen to records all the time. And it was such a joy. You can listen to records while you're doing so much work and getting things done and hanging out. And it's good for the brain. So, yeah.
You might get addicted to it, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. The cool thing is that it's just plain out fun.
Yeah, sure.
It's no secret that I really enjoyed the Pink Floyd. And I really like listening to live Pink Floyd. And where are we today as far as Ryan Adams live shows? Does that exist? Is that something that's easily obtainable by yourself?
I don't know, to be honest with you. With everything going on, I think he's put out information, like he's been working on stuff, to better himself and stay sober and all that, and it'll be interesting to see what he does. So he has a lot of, before, the news broke out, he had 3 albums he was going to push out. Mm-hmm. And so one of them called Big Colors. It's hard, I guess. I don't think we'll see it right away. And I'm okay with that because I think it was tied in, to some people, and I'm okay with not hearing it. We got a few sound bites from a few of the songs, and I'm okay with that. Ready. I guess you could say I'm ready for something new from him. Mm-hmm. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I think 2001 maybe, or 2001. 2021 maybe a time that he could come back out and put out some new music. With a live show, with any live show, I don't know when that's going to happen. But like we talked about earlier, I would love to see him come back to Raleigh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To do a show if he's going to do a solo with a band. But I also would love to see him, reunite with Whiskey Town again. I think that'd be great to see Caitlin and Skillet back on stage.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, as far as live shows, what if he wanted to hear a 2005 show? What was he doing? How did he sign on the road in 2005? There's some.
Oh, with the Cardinals.
With the Cardinals, as well as like we want to go back. What was Whiskey Town sounding like when they played these little bitty bars? I mean, is there a community of live Ryan Adams recordings that you can listen to?
Yeah, I think what's it called? Archive.org.
There's a lot of archive. Yeah,
he's got a ton of stuff on there.
Oh, cool.
Definitely check out. Yeah, the Cardinal stuff, are great. You can't go wrong with that stuff. But
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't realize now that's what you asked me to go back. I kind of just went rambling. So
it's okay, but which was good information, which I'm glad to hear. Absolutely. So yeah, people are still listening to records. Musicians are still playing music and listening to it. We may not be able to go down to the local bar and hear it, or we may not be able to go down to the theater and hear it, but
yeah,
thank God.
It's cool to see bands coming out and doing like live show, like streaming shows.
Absolutely, yeah.
Butch Walker did one a couple weeks ago, doing, because that and if I'm talking too much, please stop me. He the rock opera is meant to be played in full. So, and he sat on that for like 2 years. I think when all the whole Charlottesville incident happened, he started writing that, and he put it on the shelf. And so he actually went live, played it how they were originally meant to be played on the piano and just with his guitar. And it was awesome. So it was an awesome experience for him to do that for us. And, you know, we're all stuck in the house. We miss music. We miss a lot of things, but it was cool to see him, you know, do that for this record and, you know, for his fans and whatnot. Another cool event happening is Jesse Malin's going live this Thursday, and Butch, yes. So that'd be a cool event. I think that's $10 to join, and I think it's going. The proceeds are going to keep venues alive.
Right. Yeah.
So kind of a fund for that.
Yeah.
So,
it all ties in, folks. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this again, Tony.
It was fun. Thanks. I know.
Hours
it was fun to get on here and talk with you, and hopefully someone took away, you know, one of these bands that they haven't heard of, and maybe found a new favorite band.
Yeah, get a chance to check them out. And I learned a lot myself too, so that was really cool. But anyway,
yeah, I think you'll definitely enjoy the Pine Grove. Definitely check them out.
Yes, and I have. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you recommended it to me, what was it?
Yeah, it was back in March, when before all this.
Yeah, I was going to say March.
I think it was that weekend. Everything shut down too.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think it was Sunday. I came in Sunday afternoon, and everything shut down Sunday afternoon. Schools shut down, everything.
Wow. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thanks for having me. It was great to talk.
Everybody be cool. Rock and Roll Friday is Michael.
Yeah, I'll definitely tune in. I'd love to see what Michael has to say about Butch. And
yeah, and Michael loves Kiss too, so we'll probably see some Kiss records. And so there you go. But I'll reach out to Michael and tell him to watch this episode as a rerun.
Awesome.
Hey, take care, everybody. Everybody be safe. See you soon.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.